Welcome back to the channel, everybody. If you're out there trying to hire people, you know as well as I do, it's a little difficult. And lengthy, right? So you have to go through the whole process. You got to create the job post. You got to put it on Indeed or Monster or even LinkedIn and do the interview process, do the background checks and reference checks and all that. Have you considered maybe hiring freelancers? And it's something that we've turned to and it's worked pretty well for us. So I asked Joe Prendergast to come on. He's with Bullpen, and that's exactly what they do. They can help you find freelancers. So this is not a paid ad. It's something that I just thought might bring you guys value. So he gave us a really good background and an idea of cost too. So make sure you check out the video. Now, if you're new to the channel, my name is Joe Killinger. I've been a real estate entrepreneur for over 20 years. And I use this channel to bring people like Joe on that can really give us some tips and tricks how to be more successful in our career path. So make sure you check out the video. And if you haven't done so, make sure you subscribe. All right, Joe. So building a team right now is it's difficult in this environment, right? And so reaching out and doing a freelance team might be something we want to take a look at as a commercial real estate agent or even as an investor. Can you walk us through a process that we can really go out, find a good team, bring them in, and utilize this freelance system?
Yeah, 100%. So first off, I would say that using freelance commercial real estate professionals at this point could be anyone from your sole proprietor, single man team, couple partners, to institutional groups that are just overworked and are looking for support on their team. So I think a great starting point is to identify what are those like high responsibility but time consuming roles, either to your highest level team members or to you as the owners. And then once you've identified those, kind of just keying in on what it would look like if someone were able to handle those tasks for you and what you could be doing otherwise seems to be the best conversations that at least I have early on, because then we can really just target exactly the type of professional that someone might be looking for and really plug that gap so that the machine runs well.
Now, and I know you've been working with some commercial real estate agents, and I think we'll probably focus a little more on that today, but what position do you see that most commercial brokers have been bringing freelance in for? Is it mostly for cold calling, for marketing? What aspect have you seen has been the most prevalent?
Yeah. I would say marketing is a big one, marketing and design. I'm not sure if you're a marketer yourself, but if you have skills with like InDesign and those softwares, but if you don't know what you're doing, they can take a lot of time. And so having someone who can just crank it out. And then once you have templates established, right, it can be an even more efficient process.
That's a good idea. So you can have somebody, you can bring a freelancer in, create your templates, and you can just kind of plug and play going forward for your marketing.
Exactly. And you can have them do that, or you could eventually, take it over and really run it yourself. I would say analysts is the other position. Across asset classes and in development. So if you needed to do your own financial modeling on a deal, or you wanted to, do your own market research in addition to what the broker's given you, that is another position that at least our firm fills pretty often.
Well, it's got to be hard because, going out and finding somebody to do this has got to be difficult unless we use a system like Bullpen. But I guess let's talk about, can you touch on costs for something like that? About, it doesn't have to be exact, kind of ballpark cost for a marketer, for an analyst, that kind of stuff, where it would be. Because I know everybody watching this like, oh man, I didn't know I could even outsource that, but I don't know how expensive it is.
Yeah, totally. And there's a couple different ways to do it too. So like Bullpen, we're all US based professionals. And so those are going to be folks who are in the industry now and, in commercial real estate in the US. And so these would be for US workers, at least in our network. Analysts, you're looking in like the 125 to 160 an hour range. I know that's kind of broad, but really, from senior.
It gives us a baseline though. That's why I want to do it. So really
Yeah.
we can kind of decide. But how about marketing?
And marketing, it's gonna be less, I would say more like 120 to 140 an hour. And then at least for us, you can hire on like a part-time basis as well and a full-time basis, still as a 1099 contractor. And as you guarantee more hours to professionals, because you're making that guarantee of like part-time work or full-time work, the hourly rate does kind of drop as you increase, your commitment to the freelancer.
Sure,
So
yeah.
140 to 160 might go to, 120 to 140, and 120 to 140 might go to 100 to 120, something like
Right.
that.
Okay.
Yeah.
And now I know people are thinking, what if I go on Fiverr or and I'm not trying to throw you under the bus, but I know what the
No,
way people say it,
please,
because
please.
now I can go on Fiverr and get somebody for $20 an hour. How
Yeah.
do you guys, what do you have to say to that?
Yeah. Fiverr, Upwork. Again,
Yeah.
there's groups that go out of the Philippines. And if you're looking for just like data entry or templated marketing and design, those can be great avenues, frankly.
Yeah.
Additionally, if you're willing to spend the time to sift through candidates, there's a lot of folks on Fiverr and Upwork. Those are billion-dollar
Oh, yeah.
software companies, but
Right.
our process is more facilitated too. So we're going to have a network of folks that we've already pre-vetted for like the analytical roles. We run them through a case study. We ask for employer feedback on our professionals, so that they're the ones who are getting really good feedback and doing a great job being efficient with their time. And then they're also going to be folks who are here in the US in the industry, doing whatever we're sourcing as their current job. So they're going to hit the ground running.
Yeah.
That's kind of
I think that's exactly it. Is, right now there's a lot of people struggling out there finding, even commercial real estate agents. So finding somebody to come in and do your analytics, and, you've got to go out and do all this legwork, even though you do get on Indeed or Monster, any of those sites, go out there and try and find somebody, go through the entire interview process, do your background checks, references and all that. You spend hours and hours and hours of your own time doing that. And so, that's why I kind of thought this was so important, is because I thought, with what companies like you guys are doing can really nix a lot of that. We can pick up the phone and call you or Kyle and say, hey, I need an analyst. If you got somebody that you can highly recommend, and it's a time saver, and, time cost, it's a lot right now. You got to be fast and efficient.
Yeah, 100%. And Joe, you're the exact type of client that we would love to have. I think the strength of our network is also the strength of our clients. Our professionals want to work with really great clients as well, right? And so we've got some really great clients that have just done great things for our professionals, and they just kind of build on each other. So and I've tried to hire off Upwork. It really does, like, for some of my stuff on our end. And to your point, it can be more work than I initially thought even.
The process is kind of painful. And, a lot of times we look about, I'm going to save $50 or $100. And, if you start figuring your time cost into it, that's when a company like what you guys are doing can be so valuable. And I'm not here to sell Bullpen or anything. I think I know the guys personally, so I know Joe and I know Kyle, and it's a great company. And that's why I asked him to come on, because I just know that hiring right now is very, very difficult, and it can make ease of use there's a lot of value in that. Okay, you've got analysts, you've got marketing. What other avenues what other pain points can you help us with?
Yeah, definitely. Multifamily is probably the sector that we have the most interest in, at least. And with that, growing portfolios need asset management help a lot of the time. So that's another one we fill fairly frequently in our network. Accounting, if you needed property or portfolio level accounting, especially as we get towards the beginning of the year.
You do it for brokerages as well?
We do, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep, we work with brokerages, development companies, big investment companies, to syndicators, kind of across a pretty wide spectrum on the client side. Yeah, so those are probably the four biggest, and then we have some niche roles too, like market researcher. If you had a large development and you needed like a really in-depth market research project done
Mhm.
on just the market and the opportunity, that we have stuff like that. Lease analysts,
Okay.
kind of on the
So you pretty
brokerage
much
side.
have the whole scope of being a commercial real estate brokerage, or a commercial real estate investor. You pretty much have it all covered the way it sounds.
Yeah, I should probably say this so I don't get in trouble with Tyler. We at least fill roles that you'd find at like your HQ, your headquarters. So
Okay.
if you think about a role that you currently would fill at your headquarters, we probably have a freelance professional for that.
Okay. Yeah, that's perfect. And that's what it was. I mean, we don't do paid endorsements or anything. I don't want anybody to think this is, I just know you guys, and I just think it's much easier to reach out to somebody like you guys, and really get the process moving a lot faster. And it can take weeks to go out and find somebody if you're going to go through Indeed or Monster, and this can be a couple days. You call you guys, find somebody, and they're started. So
Yeah, totally appreciate that, Joe. That's exactly right too. Like the speed of it, and like we've talked about, there's other great companies out there for specific tasks or for this. It's just like how much effort are you willing to put in? Some of our professionals have come over from a site like Upwork, so they were on Upwork, and you could presumably find them there. But to your point, I had a sales coach actually tell me recently, like, this gas analogy, that are you really going to go around to all the gas stations in your area to find the one that's 10 cents cheaper? Like, you need to be thinking about the time, the value of your time.
Value, money.
Yeah, time, value, money. So
exactly. All right. Well, what I'm going to do, Joe, is I'm going to put your and Tyler's contact information down below. I will put Bullpen's information on there. And if anybody wants to reach out to you, they can reach out to you guys directly and ask questions, get pricing. But I just thought this was very important for people to understand that, sometimes we get into this rut of like, okay, to get an ad out on Indeed, I need somebody right away. Well, here's your right away. This can be a lot faster. Might be a little bit more expensive, maybe not. It might be, these days, I don't know what costs are in these careers. But Joe, thank you for coming on today.
Yeah, thank you, Joe. It's been a pleasure getting to know you, and I hope that we can have you on our show to talk about all that you're doing, because we a lot of respect for you and the stuff you guys are doing.
Yeah, I'd love to be on your show. So, and for those of you watching, thank you for watching us today. And if you haven't done so, make sure you subscribe.
Thank you, guys. Thanks, Joe.